I'm going to work with two canvases. One is white and one is black because I'm going to do something that will look like glass. So on the when you're like when you're shading for glass, you on white you want to see the shade. Like let's say that I want to do a blue glass and get a brush big enough. Hey, that's a little bit too much. See, I'm shading the sides, and this part right here that looks like it has too much color, I can fade it by going from normal to clear and brush. This is sort of like eraser. You can do the same thing with eraser, except with this clear mode, you're using the eraser, but you're also using the same brush that you put it on with, so you can paint and like rub on and rub off. And I guess I don't really need that much color. I just, wait a minute, that was still clear, normal. Add some darkness to it. So on white, this is the way it looks. I have the round looks getting this rounded look, and on black you just see a little bit of light on the blue. And when you have glass, you have reflections. So I'm going to go over with another layer and do light. So now you can see this glass in the black areas, and you can see it in the white areas. And you can add something like a bright highlight. Uh, I guess since it's a tall, straight glass, it could be a streak of light on one side. And since I don't want to mess up what I have, I'm starting a new layer. So I just do a streak and make it a brighter spot there. No, that's not the right brush. And then I can fade it. See, I'm going near the line and going down with holding the shift key to make the line straight. Then I can get a great big brush, because what I want is this edges, since they draw in the middle more like this, the middle would be the strongest point. So I don't want to erase the strongest point. I want it to go from the center outward, so it fades upward like that. Then I can blur it to help blend it in to get that faded look, like a streak on light hits the top and it streaks down the glass. Now I just want to smooth it out to where it's rough. Let me get the brush size so I can point. See right here, it looks like it's not smooth. So I'll blur it to make it smoother. Do more blur. Actually, I think maybe a Gaussian blur would do better because I can adjust it. See? There. Well, I can touch it up with really light to make it, but that's the wrong size brush. So this would be like a stronger center with it being smaller. And then I want to flow. Oh, that's the wrong place. So flow through here. Oops, that was too much. And it kind of like had spots in it. Anyway, usually when you have a glass like this, you have a rim. So the rim of the glass catches the light and the darks. I'm going to hold the shift, get right below the rim. Then pick up this lighter color here and go across. So without this, you have that. So it looks like a rim on the glass. Undo, deselect, and then hide extras so I can see. So it's still selected. And then I want to get that white back. There. That's a tiny spot that looks dark right there. And blend it in. Okay, so now I have sort of like a glass. It's not like a real glass. I could make the bottom curve. By trimming it. So this needs to be trimmed and this needs to be trimmed. And you can't see both of them at the same time because you need the black to see the light colors and the light to see the dark colors. So I'm going to select the inverse and then use the eraser. The eraser looks blurry, so I think I'll get a sharper edge so I do not overdo the edge. Oh, that's for the gloss. This is for some of the color. That's the light color. This is the dark. Usually, if you're doing glass, you want to get the inside of the glass because as it curves around the rim of the glass, let me actually, I probably should fill in an area so I can select the area of the glass. So I'm just going to start a new layer and fill it with black. And then try to select the area for the glass. Oops. So I can actually use this when I want to select the glass because it's transparent is barely there. And then wait a minute, that was a mistake. So I guess I'll just delete this because I filled in the area with black. And the only thing not selected is so it's sort of like opposite of what I wanted. And then I could just select this area, select inverse, and fill in the area with white. Wait a minute, not on this layer. Okay, so that's my shape. So when I want to select this outside area, I can select that. That selects the outside area. I'm holding the control key when I click on these little icon pictures, and that selects the shapes inside that I was working on. Okay, so now that I have that, I'll just select this black one to trim, and looks like right here, this side right here is a little bit hanging over a little bit, and I want that trimmed off. So which is selected? It's this outside area, so I need to fill and trim on this layer. So hold shift, add to it, and delete. And then on this layer, I want to fill with black. And then I can select this. Actually, that didn't trim that. Is that right there needs trimmed? I thought I trimmed it. Okay, delete. Okay, now we got it. Now let's see if select this and then trim this gray off right here. That was the shine, apparently. So there's the glass. And that's with the white showing. Okay, there's without the white. And if you want to do glass as it curves around, you'll see inside rim of the glass because it curves around and you see the side of the glass. And it's could be a little bit lighter or darker. I'd say uh, let's make it a little bit lighter because light might be coming in on the sides. Oop, this let's use light blue. I don't see much effect as it's only 2%. Oh, wait a minute. I'm not. I have the reverse selected. Okay, try that again. Oh, there it is. And then do a darker color. That didn't look like it did anything. There it is, starting to show up. And then I put a darker spot through here. So this is kind of showing the edge, the thickness of the glass is what I'm trying to do. I'm not really actually seeing a glass, but I know that the glass would have like a patches where it curves down here. So I'm going to try to do that, get that effect, the dark. Make sure I got this selected and make it darker through here. Set on normal so it's, even though it's looking gray, it's actually getting it darker. And if I paint in like a area where the glass that is at the bottom, like it would be thicker on the bottom, I want to paint something thicker. I'm a little bit sloppy here. That would help the bottom look more like glass. And blur it. See. Okay, so now we have sort of like a glass. Now, if we group all these together, which is only 2 layers, I can merge down and then select this area and see how it works. See, copy. Now open up a picture, find a picture somewhere. They open those movies. Let's see if this picture is big enough. Edit, paste. So now we have like a glass and we can move around. Don't have all the highlights on the glass and stuff that it could have. And I don't see that really light spot that should have been on top. So I just trash that and merge down. Now I copy it. So I guess I closed that window. Edit, paste. There. Now it's more like the glass image. And adjust the size. Oh no, don't want to adjust that size. Free transform, make this glass smaller. Make it shaped the way I want it. So that's sort of like a glass. If you actually look at a reference for a glass when you do this, you can make it look better, but this is a glass effect. So you don't want to have too much paint on the glass. You want it to have transparency, so you have to use the eraser, or you can use the brush mode clear, and that clears off areas like, let's see. See, I'm erasing it real lightly. It's the same thing as the eraser. So you control the paint in order to control what you want people to see. So you don't just paint, you gotta control how much paint. And you use the eraser and clear to trim off and fade where the paint is too heavy to get the effect you want. And normally you don't paint glass, but if you want to have a glass effect, most gloss is just a glass effect. Like if I wanted to make something look like glass, it needs a layer that looks like glass. That's got highlights and stuff on it. So if you want to make it shiny, you just do highlights like this. Let me make this brush smaller. Like this area right here, there's a highlight on the glasses and highlights on the mouse. That means that I would have to make a stronger light right there on that side, because those things are pointing this away. And that means that I'd have to paint a bright spot here. So this might look better if I reverse it, just flip it. See, edit, transform, flip horizontally. See, that's the right side. And then there's two sides of the glass, so it's not just one side, it's two sides. You got the front side and you got the back side. So if you want to do both sides of the glass, which I only did one side, you do the same thing on the back side Like I can copy this and lay another one over top. And here's a glass effect. Because I have two sides of the glass. And if I'm doing two sides of glass in an angle, I might want to trim the glass backside so that it's showing that it's round. Right there is showing, look, make it looks like a D shape. And it'll have to have a bright light or wherever the bright light is, but it needs a bead around the glass like I did right here. So that bead that I made is flat and it would need to be rounded. So I got two sides of the glass and I can select them, hold them together, and then I can zoom out. See, it looks more like a glass now because you got two sides. It's almost like you're looking at a real glass, and some people's mind goes into shock because it mixes in with all the colors because you use black and you use white. So wherever it's black, you see glass, and where it's light, you still see glass. And that's because you're using both layers to get that same effect. So then one doesn't fade out on the other, like it won't look right with the on black if you're using white because you don't get all the dark areas to show the darks, and because you all you have is lights and all you can do is darks, and if you have black all you can do is lights. You can't see the darks. So the two colors, I mean the two is light and dark. You need both of them to actually see some things. So you mix them up, have two colors when you're doing transparent stuff, so you can see what's inside. Like this dark areas right here, I could see them on white. But when I move over to black, I don't see those dark areas. I see the light colors of the blue and the light and stuff. So you need both to make it look right. And it plays tricks on the eyes, make you think that this is like magnifying. You can see like this magnified glass moving around and it reflect and it looks like a real glass because your eyes are being tricked. So that's one thing I wanted to show because it helps to control the paint. It's not really about painting, but it's how to control the paint. If you have too much color, you need to remove some color. You use the eraser, so it's like wax on, wax off type thing. You got to control what people see. Okay, so I guess that's one thing. That's what I wanted to show. Okay, I don't want to save that. That was where I built a desk. See, I designed it in 3D and then I actually built it. I got all the lumber together. There's pictures of lumber, and I got lights together to work with the lights. Then I assembled the legs so that the legs were solid. And then I put drawers and or the tracks for the keyboards and music keyboards. Then I tested the lighting, and when I was done, in the blue or the black light, this is what it looked like. And in the white light, working on other computers and stuff, this is what it looked like. Turned into a mess. But it was a pretty strong thing because walnut is strong, but this wood was over 70 years old when I got it. So some of the white areas was rotten. Okay, so get back to this. We're done showing you how to do transparent stuff and controlling the paint. So now we just clear this off and start a new layer or new. I started with 8 by 10, and what I did was a lot of times when I start, I go select 8 by 10, and it says 300, and I remove that and make 100. So that's my normal size canvas. And if I want the canvas to lay down sideways, I just rotate it. So that's normal canvas size. Now start a new layer and fill it in with black. I'm going to show you something else. Wait a minute, that's white. Okay, I'm going to show you paint, how it affects, or like you have these layers, like you have all this right here, it's got darken, multiply, lighten, and stuff like that. You can actually create a light that looks like you're using these, but still get the same effect. So I'm going to use this blue again and a big brush. Big blurry brush. And then I just dab it. I see rings. And it's not right. I'll just it feel looks like it was on color and the color didn't turn out good. No, that was clear. Okay. It says on normal. And put on a layer above that. Okay, like this is a light spot. And the brighter spot would be in the middle, so I'm making it lighter in the middle, and then brighter in the middle. Make some light colors of blue around there. And then smaller area. Edit. Fade. That looks about right. So let's say that this is a light. Now, because you have black here, black helps you fill areas. I'm going to use a blur to get rid of, make it smoother and not motion blur. Filter, blur, Gaussian blur. That looks better. Just there. Okay, so I'm going to use a small brush and draw anywhere, because this is like a buildup of paint. I'm going to show you what it looks like for buildup of paint. I'm going to do a yellow and set the flow a little high, 12. Okay, now I'm going to just draw lines. Okay, see, the yellow is affected by the blue, and I'm on a layer above it. Now, if I pull it down underneath, you can see that it's affected more by the blue because the blue is over top. See, that way the yellow is showing more, and this way the blue is showing more, which if this is a blue light, anything within the blue light gets covered with blue, makes it bluer. Now I'll go with a smaller brush and do like stuff like this. Just now we're going to change to white. Actually, you can't see anything here, right? Let's pick a color that's in between. More like this red. This red is in between. It should be able to see it on both. See, this blue is overpowering because it's like a light. This is in the blue light. It makes the red look lighter, while over here this red is darker. So that's like faded red, and this is a deeper red. Now I turn off the black layer, and you can see it, the whole line. And you can see where these little patches are, where like if I make it stronger, just keep painting there, it makes it stronger. You can see it's a buildup of paint. So when you're trying to make a design or just messing around painting designs, you can change the effect by laying over with light. Like this is a bright light, and I painted a city, and I want this blue light to shine on the city and show its light, so everything looks a blue tint. It's affected by the light. And then wherever you want it to not show light, you don't want it to show completely. It's sort of like you need to erase it or cover it with black. Erasing it would be better, because when it goes out here, it's not in the light, so it should look dark. So you'll have to trim. I'm going to use the eraser this time, and not a hard edge, a soft edge. So you want to trim that stuff that's not in the light. Actually, that was a little bit too much because that's 100%. And well, I want to keep opacity the same because what I want is the flow rate. So I do step back, and right there I can fade it. Now if I want to imagine that this light here is reflecting off of these loops, then I pick up this color here, actually a brighter color of it, and then show a little bit of the light on it, like reflecting on it. And you can see that I'm doing it a little bit too heavy, so I can fade it. which I'm painting on the red, which is not good because I can't control it. If I erase the light, I erase the red. So that wasn't a good idea there. But the idea of making this look like light is hitting this side, I'll go on another layer. That way it's better off. I just paint this light. Probably should change that to a lower flow. And then use the eraser to fade it. Can't really make it stronger to look like it did, because once I fade it, I can't go back. I have to paint it back in there. And if I try to patch over with the lightest spot here, like make this area brighter, it just makes the area brighter. So it's sort of like if you want something to look like that, you have a fine line and make it smaller. I'm zooming in. I'm going to make a glare spot like right here. Because this would be like a brighter spot. So where I want it to be brighter, is just like this. I don't put much paint on so it can fade. Let's do less. So it builds up less and not do layers. So the more times I go over it, some areas to make it thicker. So it helps blend in. So now I got a bright spot there. Now I want to glare. I'm going to do this on another layer. I'll pick a white since it's a low flow. And then with the light of blue around it. And then go smaller. Makes it blurry so that it looks brighter, and then the brightest spot will be right in the middle, and I'm using white for that. So this should look like a glare bright spot. See? That looks like a glared bright spot. And if you want to make it look like this right here won't let this glare through, like the light around it here, you just erase part of it. Like, let's get this eraser and go smaller and erase this area. Wait a minute. Said there was nothing there to erase, I guess. Clone stamp. That's a clone stamp, not the eraser. Okay, try it again. So you erase the the glare here. Is that glare? Nope. That's the glare. Okay, erase this glare right through here. This makes it look like this part is a shadow, which I can also paint in a shadow there. This is a really low flow. This don't really look faded out. See that? It's because this light right here is doing some of it too, so I can block some of that, erase part of that right through here. Oh, that's a little bit too much. And that was a black. It wasn't erase. No, that's completely erasing it. Lower flow. See, this is like a shadow where the light can't pass through to show the back side of this. This is the back side where the light can't see it. So this glare here is affected by the shadow side. Actually, that was black paint again. Undo. I'm trying to erase it through here a little bit so that it's removing some of the glare, and then that gives it a stronger backside effect right here, because you can see the backside. See, now it looks more like a rim right here showing one side where it's facing the light and the glare, and then it has some of the light removed. When I was working on like making pine trees leaves, which was, I think I can probably find it in my art somewhere. I lost the original picture, so I quit working on it because I lost all my art at the time. Let's see. The fonts, my stories. This is my art folder. Themes, skins, screens, rendering. I don't see just only art stuff. Finished pictures. It wouldn't be in finished pictures. Because I didn't consider it finished. There's a lot of stuff in here I don't show online. And originals. And it wouldn't be a PSD. And that was for photographs. Small. It's just art. I was calling it Drunk Bears. Kind of hard to find. It's more of work that I did that it was saved online and I got a copy of it online and that's the only version of it I can get. So I couldn't really finish it unless I wanted to redo it. And then I found the PSD file, which is in here somewhere, for what was done. I could probably show you that if I can find it. Is blasting computer PSD glass. Have one that's a soccer team. Let's see, swamp. Don't look like I have it in here. Just like it's completely gone. The blast. This is one that I was actually just playing with, trying to create a blast. This right here was a ship that I rendered in 3D, and then I created all this around it, like the stars, to make them look like they're stars. So I have different layers, and this is the glare. See these streaks here? That was created sort of like you. Well, I could do it. This is a motion blur here because it blurs both ways. It don't do just one way. So I'll just start a new layer and show you how to do like uh, sunbeams. So I just select this small line across here and then scribble lines across it, and want to get something better than that. So it's only 3 pixel brush. Let's try this. See, I'm just scribbling across it. These will be my sunbeams. Now use a lower flow. Get some more beams of light through there. In bigger areas. In smaller areas. And so the object is try not to make it look like it's like you see it here. Try not to make the lines straight. I mean crooked. You just trim off everything so it's not crooked. Now you got one straight line. And we do free transform. And I'm going to right click on this and do distort. Actually, I'm zoomed in, so distort won't look right. Okay. No, we can't do that. We can't. We got edit, undo, and then that wouldn't be good. Edit. Oh yeah, let me zoom out first. Okay, edit, transform, distort. So now this is like if you want to have all these light beams, this is how you make the light beams. Like I'm going to put this down here and have all those light beams coming out from the light. It says radiating out. And if you want to go wider, you have to move over to go wider so you can grab a hold of something. Go wider until you run out of space. So it's like that. So this is like a blast wave. And you can do that more with more lines and stuff. And then you can use the eraser to help fade where you want it to fade. Let me use the eraser. The eraser is small. So I want to get a bigger eraser. Okay, like this right here. Don't want to show those lines. So it's need to be scattered or fade. So it don't show the straight starting line because the beams don't show from one spot. Let me go with a stronger flow. Okay. So there. And then I can get the bigger brush and fade in areas. Sort of like if there was something here in the way, it would cause a shadow all the way down here. But we're going to fade this right here. And then go with the lower flow and fade it some more. And then fade these sides. There. So now this is more like sunbeams. And if you want to make it stronger, you can select them. And just like control key and select and hold the control key while you click on this layer icon. Now I'm going to do view extras and turn extras off so I can see where I'm, don't want to do that. I was erasing it. That wasn't what I was wanting to do. So make bigger. So now I can add to it. Because all this that's there is selected. And edit, copy, and then paste it in there. That makes it even stronger. So let's see. I'm not thinking right. Paste. See, couldn't see it before because of the edges, but I copied the whole layer. So I'll just trim this off. It only affects the areas that you can't get to. So like this, I trim that off. And trim the bottom. And get out there where, okay, won't trim before. It only trims what's inside the window. But you can move it around and you don't want to save it like that off the screen because a lot of the off screen stuff is deleted. When you save the file and open it up again, you won't find it again. Okay. So now I got a copy. So I can do this. I can Let's do trans. Let's see. Get it over there. Flip vertical. So now we got light beams like this. That's how that works. So now you know how to do light beams. I'll make another video so then it won't take so long to upload. So I'll stop this here.